This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a daily wrestling news update for you. I really do not respect Ric Flair right now. Good wrestler, but you can't respect the man. I guess Hulk Hogan's widow, Sky, has told TMZ that Ric Flair is lying, saying that Hulk Hogan really died from a street drug overdose. Here is Ric Flair's response. Okay, Ric Flair, by the way, is a compulsive liar. I've seen his shoot interviews. I know wrestling history pretty well. He lies constantly. But here's his response to Sky saying he's lying. Quote, okay, Sky, I got bad information. I should have never mentioned it. I have known Hogan since 79. Let's just move past this and concentrate on his legacy, period. End of story. Let's preserve his legacy rather than dwell on any negative. End quote. In other words, let's not dwell on my lies. Don't sue me. Let's move forward. Don't sue me for making up shit. I watched the podcast, which according to Bubba the Love Sponge, he got about $25,000 for doing that podcast. Supposedly he gets 25 to 35 grand now for those in-person podcasts. But I will say he's worth it because that one supposedly got over 1 million hits. So that is in a fair range. There's other people that want way more than they're worth, but we're not going to get into that anymore today. But he says right in the podcast, I shouldn't say this, but I hear Hulk Hogan died of street club drugs. So why the hell did you say it then? And the other one that really made me mad, because I did buy the rights to air his RF video shoot interview. And when he says he was in the dressing room when Brody was, not only does he lie saying that he was there when Brody was killed, which he wasn't, but he said that Brody had put Invader in the hospital for a whole month just before that. They were both baby faces when Invader killed Brody. He had wrestled Dan Spivey the night before, for crying out loud. There was a whole money issue. Brody had bought into the promotion. And then apparently they wanted to start taking tax off of his pay. Keep in mind, this is a very shady company with a long history of screwing around with wrestlers' pay. And there was clearly a whole conspiracy to cover it up. Take a look. Even Dutch Mantel was there the night he was murdered. Dutch claims he was a Vietnam veteran. I was in the reserves. Even in the Canadian reserves, you learn above average first aid. Dutch is saying, oh, I was there and I'm a Vietnam vet, but I didn't do any first aid because, quote, I was there to work. I was there to work. We were all there to work. We weren't there to save a cohort's life. Anyway, that's just, they're all scum. Ric Flair was a good wrestler, but give me a break. You're just gonna flat out lie and say that the guy took street drugs, and then let's just preserve his legacy. Now that you've called me out on it, let's preserve his legacy. I hope you do sue him, Sky, or Nick Hogan. Nick, I think you should sue Flair for saying that. Personally, you can't just go around making up bullshit about people. And it'll be interesting because Bret Hart has not been released by WWE. Shawn Michaels is an executive in WWE, supposedly makes over $1 million for what he does in NXT. I have a friend that's a popular YouTuber. He does UAP stuff. He is a wrestling fan, JP Garrison. He's a psychologist that studies body language. And I asked him to look at Bret Hart alleging that Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were gay. And from studying Bret Hart's body language, he says that Bret Hart believes what he's saying about Shawn and Vince being gay. together. And I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, there's no way Vince is gay. There's no way Vince is gay. Let's take a look at some of these alleged text messages where where Vince seems very interested in seeing Janelle Grant get laid by other men. This is Vince's at the time girlfriend, and it appears he like gets off. Like here's one of his jokes. Here's what Brock said after I told that part of the deal was fucking you. LOL. That's your turf. She would be ruined after me and leave your ass. Plus, after me, you won't fit anymore. So, in other words, he's making jokes about other men's privates to his own. I don't know if you want to call it a mistress. She supposedly had a fiance at the time. We haven't heard anything about that case since since Brock returned at SummerSlam. It's kind of gone quiet. So it's either going to go to our back to arbitration and be settled quietly, or it could be settled. It could already be settled quietly. I don't know, but we haven't heard anything. But for the people saying, "Oh, I don't think Vince can be gay," I mean, these all seem pretty gay. Might be better if you and here we go. The stuff about her and Johnny. So like he's perfectly fine with Johnny Ace banging his girlfriend. And supposedly, the real disturbing thing about him taking a dump on the girl, which by the way, she never called the cops right after. She seemed more interested in the money than criminal charges. But Johnny Ace supposedly had sex with her after Vince had taken a crap on her. Imagine doing that to somebody. That's friggin' disgusting. Did Ric Flair get drunk and say, "Hands of stone, Ronnie Garvin isn't the greatest wrestler of all time"? They did have good matches together. And I also think the reason why he wanted to drop the title to Garvin is because he knew that Garvin couldn't carry the title and he would get it back quickly. Hello, yes, Ronnie Garvin was the beast, the greatest ever. It's funny, a lot of people on here, a lot of like people I've interviewed recently don't even know who Ronnie Garvin is. Frank does not like Bret. There's a lot of people going against Bret these days. Is Ted Hart wrestling Canadian? I haven't heard of it. The last I heard, he had missed a court date related to a possession of MDMA charges in the US. So maybe he came back to Canada rather than attend the court hearing